All right, guys. This is going to be a little overview, me going over a couple sections, just to recap what you need to know for your test tomorrow. It's pretty much covering special rights and trig. So we do need to know these formulas or understand how to use the formula. One of the key components on this is to remember that if I'm going from the big side, a big side, to a smaller side, that means you're going to divide, okay? Versus if I'm going from small to big, you're going to multiply. A little multiplication symbol there, okay? So we did this in class, this page. We went over it just to kind of recap. Pay attention to given information. Like on number 3, they gave us the 45. So I should be using that rule. And I have the legs. X is the hypotenuse. So here's an example. I'm going from small to big. So I'm multiplying by the square root of 2 to get to the answer here. So this x was just 8 root 2. I don't know why I keep doing that. Sorry, guys. Now, as for, I'm just trying to fix this. Why it keeps. As for on number 4 here, now we're talking about a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Opposite the 30 is always the short leg. Opposite the 60 is the long leg. And y is our hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. So here we're going from the short leg to the long leg. Anytime I go small to big, I'm multiplying. So this one is multiplying by square root of 3. So x here was 4 root 3. And my y, I'm going small to hypotenuse big. I multiplied by 2. I just doubled the number. And so that's 8. So you did have some where you're going small to big and then big to small. An example of big to small was on number 7 here. 6 is the long leg. I need to get back to the short leg. So that's division whenever I go big to small. So this is really taking that long leg and divided by root 3. We cannot leave it like this. We rationalize it and then simplify it if it can be reduced. So this actually turns out to be 6 root 3 over 3. And then I can divide 3 into 6. So the final answer for W is 2 root 3. And the x, which is the hypotenuse, you double this answer. So that would be 4 root 3. We only double what's on the outside. So from here in this next section, we have some more problem solving with the triangles. Maybe using a diagonal like on here of a square. That means we're going from corner to corner. And by doing that, you're going to create 45, 45, 90 triangles. So this diagonal is actually the hypotenuse in the triangle. And our 3 root 5 is the leg. So we're going from leg to hypotenuse. I'm going from leg to hypotenuse, so that means I'm going to multiply to get my answer. So basically, you just have to multiply whatever your leg is by root 2. Our leg is the 3 root 5. So when I multiply that by root 2, we get 3 root 10. And that's our answer for our diagonal, which is our hypotenuse. Now we talked about on here, like on 10, if they just give you tick marks, they're showing you a right isosceles. So this is, even though they didn't put 45, this is 45, and 12 is your hypotenuse, and you're trying to get back to a leg. So that means division. So we're taking that 12, dividing by root 2. Some of you know the shortcut. Our final answer here should be that our x equals 6 root 2. Okay. And then I did talk about a situation here where you have the hypotenuse. We're going back to the leg. We're taking that hypotenuse to root 6 and dividing it by root 2. So And then 2 can go into 6, so this was 2 root 3. This is our x and y. They're the same measure. So for something like number 12, we start with the hypotenuse, and you want to go back always to the short leg. That's home base. So hypotenuse to short leg means we're just taking half of it, and that would be half of the outside number, the 8. So this would be 4 root 5. Now to get to my long leg, I have to take whatever my short leg is and multiply it by root 3. Our short leg is the 4 root 5. We're multiplying it by that radical 3, so that becomes 4 root 15. And we can't simplify that. Okay, so this was just one triangle, finding the missing side. And then we got multi-step, okay, adjacent triangles using a shared side. So on a problem like number 15, I would start with the hypotenuse. If that's 5 root 2, then that means each side here is 5. And that 5 is the shared side of the smaller and this adjacent triangle. And that part is actually the hypotenuse of the hypotenuse. Oh, why is it doing that? Sorry. I really shouldn't have. Okay, so here we're going to go from the hypotenuse to the leg. So I'm going big to small. So I'm just dividing by root 2. And this is like what we did on previous problem. We can't leave the radical, so we have to multiply by that, rationalize it, multiply by that root 2. This is 5 root 2 over 2. Or you can take half of 5 as 2.5 and then root 2. Okay. So when dealing with multi-step, make sure you start with the given side. So like if I go to number 18 here, the given side we need to start with the 6 root 2 is the hypotenuse, and I need to get back to the short leg. That means I have to take half of it. So the short leg here is 3 root 2. Now I can go to my long leg, which is the shared side here. Long leg is whatever the short leg is times radical 3. So if I multiply this 3 root 2 by radical 3, it would be 3 root 6. But that's the legs of this 45, 45, 90 triangle. So now I'm going from my leg to get to the hypotenuse. That means I'm multiplying by root 2 to do that. Now, on this problem, when I do that, this turns out to be 3 root 12, and root 12 can be simplified because it has a perfect square factor, which is 4 times 3. 4 is the perfect square, so that's gone and comes out as a 2. So my x, my final answer is 6 root 3. Don't forget about your radical rules. All right, so that's our special rights. And then the next part of the test is our trig, which we have here. Hold on just a second.